Right. So very good evening, and we can kind of start off this session hopefully on time. Yes, 9 o'clock. So thank you for joining in early. Many of you joined in almost 10 minutes early, and that's so amazing. Um, so what we are going to talk about today is integrated learning. And I hope you can hear me clearly. Just give me a quick yes or a Y in the chat window so that I get that confirmation. Um, Thank you, Kritika. And yeah, thank you, everybody. So the best thing about integrated learning is that it is not something new. It is something that we all are doing, and uh, in a way our children are also doing it. We're just not realizing it, and that's the whole idea. The moment we kind of realize it, the moment we go into the detail, we can actually do a lot more. The understanding of something gives us a lot of options, right? I am just starting this session live on Facebook. So if you're not able to see the screen just now, that's okay. Just hang on while the Facebook live gets started. But we can kind of start. Uh, Continue, or rather continue talking about integrated learning, right? So as I was saying, it is something that all of us do, and what we will do today is just understand it so that we can see how much potential it has. Somewhere while we do it, while we as I said, unconsciously or sometimes consciously practice it, a lot of learning that we do as when we are very small, let's say 1 year 2 years old, or when we are very big, as in out of the school and college, is integrated learning. But we kind of forget it in that even in this age of school and college, there is so much of integrated learning that can happen, right? But that is not happening. That is the unfortunate part, uh, right? Uh, well, one of the things I always say that integrated learning, it has got that ing to it, because it's something which is all the time happening, right? And which is the beauty of it, that it is happening all the time. Um, what that simply means is that, let's take a farmer. How does a farmer who's supposed to be an illiterate, he never went to a school or college, but if you really look at it, no, he's learning integratedly. When he goes to his farm, he learns about so many things. He learns about seeds, he learns about birds, he learns about weather, he learns about water management, and how to connect and communicate with the middlemen, and so on and so forth. I mean, the list is literally endless. So he is actually, his whole life, he's an integrated learner, because everything that he's learning is all connected to what he or she is doing, what he or she is interested in, which is how when we start working, we start learning. Everything is all integrated. It's as simple as the word. Yeah. Uh, so let me share with you a little story that'll give you some idea about why I'm so gung-ho about integrated learning. This story is with a group of 6 to about 9, or let's say 10-year-olds. There were about 7, 8 of them with me, and we were reading a story. Yeah. And in that story, there's a guy who is riding a horse cart, and the horse suddenly stops. And because of that, this guy falls out of the cart, right? Something which looks very normal, sounds very normal. But I just asked the group, hey, what do you think? Does this happen? Does this happen that you fall out of your, let's say, bike or car, whichever you are riding with your parents, when they suddenly break? So, well, nobody had the story of falling out of the car, but some said, yeah, I get a little jerk, or I get, um, uh, whatever, thrown on one side of the car. Like that, there were some thoughts, but they were very doubtful whether this actually happens, and how does it really happen, and can a guy fall out of his horse cart? Meaning, is this story just pulling a fast one of them? So we said, okay, why don't we try it out? Oh, they said, yeah, okay, let's try it out. So we kind of, took up a table and inclined the table, and we got a little toy car, put some marbles in it, and we started rolling the cars down and stopping it with our hand and seeing whether what happens to the marbles, and so on. So all this action started happening just to understand whether this actually happens or not. And while the children were kind of exploring this, one child who was waiting for his turn, he looked at all this action, and he just said that, my grandfather is a marble champion. Right? Everybody was like suddenly paused. What? Yeah, yeah, he plays amazing, tricks with marbles, and he's so good at aiming the marbles. And he started talking about his grandfather, what all he plays, and then he also talked about how he has taught his grandfather a game on the phone. And now they all started discussing how in grandparents' time there were no phones. God knows what they used to play, and so on. So the discussions were between what they play now as compared to what their granddads used to play. So while all this discussion was going on, one child had picked up this marble and was trying to, see through the marble or whatever, bring it very close to eyes, and he just started saying, I don't know what these marbles are made up of, or rather, I wonder, something like that, he said. And yeah, suddenly that a whole lot of answers started coming. It must be made up of this or that. And then somebody said, okay, let's check it out on the Google, and they figured out, oh, it's made up of glass. Now there was a harsh silence, and nobody had thought that it's made up of glass, though it had that very glossy feeling. Somehow that didn't strike to them. And then this whole thing, no, it can't be made up of glass. See, I can't really see through it. Then somebody said, no, 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 you can't see through a mirror also. Mirror is made up of glass. So then this whole debate about mirror versus glass, and then how glass is mirror made out of glass or glass made out of mirror. And then somebody said, yeah, but it's little dark, we can see reflections even in the glass. In the daytime I can see out, but in the nighttime I can see my reflection in it. And then they said, yeah, maybe we can make a mirror out of glass. So no, we said, okay, shall we try it right now? And they, yeah, yeah, yeah. So we all went, we put some clothes behind the glass and tried to see our reflection. And when we were, kind of doing all this, one of the child said, in my church, he was a Christian, so he said, in my church, they paint on these glasses, and that makes the whole light very different that comes through that window. And we that's called glass painting and all that. And then everybody wanted to do some glass painting, so we couldn't get a glass in the center at that moment to paint on, but we could get all kind of other stuffs to paint on, their water bottles and stuff like that. They said, okay, on my water bottle, if I paint, will it look the same way as glass painting? And I can go on. Actually, the story obviously does not end here. The story is just beginning to warm up, as you can realize. uh, and obviously, but I want to pause here. This story, I guess you got the idea of what I'm talking about. What do you think? What are you feeling when you hear this story? What thought is coming to your mind? Just to remind you, the story doesn't end here, but we are taking a little pause. What do you say? Please type in the chat window. I love to hear what thoughts are going on in your mind. What are you feeling right now? What is this whole thing happening? Yeah, Kritika is saying no restrictions. Charlie is saying going with the flow. Yeah, no restrictions, going with the flow. Learning is everywhere. Wow, yeah, it's just everywhere. Yeah, yes, Lavanya. It's a thriving environment because we realize learning is everywhere. No compartments. Yes, no restrictions. Absolutely going with the flow. Thanks, Anuj. Thanks, Lavanya. Yeah. More thoughts. So that's if you like this story, you are oh, people are saying learning is fun and chaotic. Then you actually know the essence of integrated learning. Uh, yes, Shirley, let we should together break these marbles and see what is inside the marble. Absolutely, yeah. Yes, Parth, they're so curious to learn, and as Ishita is saying, fun and chaotic, exploring, yes, all explorations fun. So all of what you are saying, right from Kritika to Seema is saying now, yeah. So all of you have not yet shared, but I'm saying, I'm sure you are thinking something. What you are thinking right now is integrated learning. It is so very there. It is, it's everywhere. Like how Radha is saying, learning is everywhere, integrated learning is everywhere. Rather, it exists because it's everywhere. Learning exists because it is everywhere. And that is the beauty. If we can if you can just relate to this one thought. um, no, I don't think it's got any reduced with technology, not at all. In fact, technology can at times really help. So I don't think let's get into this technology problem. I'm just saying let's move away from the model where somebody is gonna teach you something. No, uh, Shravanti, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. It is nothing to do with technology. I- Today, right today, children are learning this way. Adults are learning this way. Let's forget technology. Let's just enjoy the learning, even with technology, with everything that's possible. Just 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 kind of flip the whole environment from teacher teaching to learners exploring, and then you have got this happening thing. So learning is happening when, let's say, learners are happening. Yeah, they learn out, or rather they convert everything into activity. Yeah, exactly. Yes, it has to just come out of them, and possibly, uh, Laila, you're right. We just need to be the peons, keep supplying them resources and materials. Maybe not even too much of guidance required. Yeah, but we can explore how even guidance can play a big role. But that we will explore later. Today, let's just try and understand what is integrated learning, and then we can, with that understanding, we can explore what kind of guidance we can give. Yeah, yeah, very gentle guidance. I like that, very gentle. Yeah, super. Okay, so let me kind of move ahead, and I bring in a little quote by Peter Killine. He says, school should be the best party in town, or if I remove the word schools and replace it with that, learning should be the best party in town. Which actually it is, if we let it learning be learning, not becoming some subjects to run behind, right? That way, I would say life should be a best party in town, right? All the time learning whatever's happening. So that's the whole idea. It's not just the childhood. We say the childhood was the best time, we were learning, enjoying, but I think the reason we kind of lose it out, we start thinking that learning needs to be more serious. But learning is neither serious nor unserious, no, neither fun nor unfun. It's just learning. It's pure exploration and experience, right? No interruptions, just the flow, right? Uh, the first perspective I want to bring about integrated learning, now that we've kind of got a sense of what I'm talking about or what is integrated learning, is that how does integrated learning happens? Or if I remove the word integrated, let me say, how does learning happens? And one of the ways it happens is just the way we all make friends. Yeah. How do you make a friend? If that's the question, just take a moment and think about, how do I make friends with people? Um, Swati is saying, please elaborate in grid. That's what we are going to do in the 1 hour, Swati. So be with me. I won't, I don't need to define it, but we can elaborate it. Let's understand integrated in the way of how does somebody make friends? How does Swati make friends? And how does different people make friends? How do we make friends? Well, we make friends by uh, yes, by interaction, by striking a conversation, as Lavanya is saying. Yes, with people of same interest. But the important thing is, we don't make friends in an hour or in half an hour. We take time. We strike a conversation, we meet somebody, we possibly, as Anuj is saying, slowly we get to know them a little today, and if we don't meet again, we possibly don't end up being friends. But then if we go back and see, hey, this the person whom we met for the first time, maybe half an hour, we talked to each other, we played something together, but then what happened? Yeah, after a few days we met again, or maybe called up each other, or maybe went out for shopping together, or maybe for a movie together, or maybe after some days the other person called you over for a dinner, or you called over for a movie. And then yes, we meet again and again, and it's like one layer on top of another layer. And as we spend time with each other, yes, Path, as we spend time, I think all time spent is quality time. As we spend time different ways, sometimes shopping, sometimes singing, sometimes movie, sometimes playing, sometimes studying, sometimes solving problems, sometimes helping each other, sometimes dinner together. You call that quality, I just call it time.
I call it time because it doesn't matter, the quality doesn't matter. What really matters is that we spend little time in different context, in different areas, and the more we meet over a period of time, maybe 6 months, maybe a year, maybe a few years, then we start calling that person our friend. Yeah. And isn't that same with learning? If I meet, let's say, the concept of multiplication today, or the concept of friction today, and then again after 1 week I meet friction in some other context, maybe in a machine, and after 1 week I meet the concept of friction somewhere else, maybe in sports, and somewhere some other day I meet the concept of friction in when I'm studying about solar system, and so on. If I keep meeting this concept of friction, um, well, we slowly make friends with friction. And I would say I have learned something. To me, another way of saying that I have learned something is to say that I made friends with it. What do you think? So the important thing, as you realize, is not just we don't have to meet the person in the same way every time. We don't have to we don't have to meet them every time in a textbook, or in a like a sum at the end of the book. But if we meet the same concept, whether it's history, whether it's geography, whether it's weather, whether it's anything, the more we get to know, or rather not even get to know, I would say the more we meet, the more we interact, the more we warm up, uh, as Anuj is mentioning, yeah, in many different contexts, and many, uh, we make friends with that learning, not anything. In fact, that's how we like learning. And we learn very naturally. If you go back to your childhood when you learned the mother tongue, and as the same case, when your child, or when a very young child learned mother tongue, the child learned it like that only. The child started making friends with the vocabulary, and then from the vocabulary, first not even vocabulary, the sounds, and then sounds to vocabulary, then vocabulary to broken sentences, then little better sentences, then grammar in the sentences, and lo and behold, by 3 years or so, the children are already speaking grammatically correct, vocabulary correct, contextually correct, semantically correct sentences. Isn't that amazing? The child has made friends with the language. And in fact, if a child has three different speaking, let's say, adults in the family, one speaks language, let's say English, one speaks Hindi, one speaks Tamil, then, right, the child learns three languages. In fact, my daughter ended up learning um, a third language much quicker than us, just because she happened to have, uh, you know, a caretaker who was Kannada speaking. So that's the beauty of integrated. It's just like making friends with something. And when you realize that, it becomes, you realize it's effortless. And you don't, when you meet somebody, you don't kind of count the time, you don't count the earnings or learnings, you just meet them, right? And spend some time. That's all. That's all we need to do. So let's think about how does this layering thing happens. Now, this layering things happens much like how we kind of put these threads on the spool, one round at a time, like one little time. But what's important is to realize who does this construction. So when I ask you who is the best teacher to your child, uh, I'm sure you know the answer very well, but still go ahead and type it in the chat window. Who you think is the best teacher to your child? Yep, who you think? Okay, Parth is saying parents, Kritika is saying themselves, child himself. Yeah. Nature, parent, teacher. Well, I would go by the answer my child or the child himself. Um it's you see, unless I, no matter who teaches me, whether it's a TV or a YouTube or a parent or a teacher or a nature or anything, unless I make those, I start making sense of it. I start connecting it. I start putting it together, like one brick over the other brick. Unless I start doing that, there is the rest of it has no meaning. Yeah, whether it's friends or teachers or YouTube or anything. It's not that they are the teachers. It's the child who is actually connecting with the teaching or with whatever is happening, like somebody saying experience. Yeah. So I would say, yeah, whatever answers you said is correct, but they are not the teachers. They are only the stimulus. The real teacher is the child. What do you think? The real teacher is the child, because unless the child makes sense of whatever is happening in the child's environment, whatever it is, an adult talking, a teacher talking, a parent talking, objects, resources, materials, events, experiences, unless I as a child make sense of it, yeah, uh, unless that happens. So that's the act of construction. And if we realize that, we realize it's so amazing how children construct. Yeah. Let's take an example. Yeah. Um, you guys are still talking about environment. You're still talking about resources, people. I'm saying, yeah, all of that is of no meaning if I, as a learner, does not make sense of it, does not get into the act of construction. That's the importance of construction, and which is why that is the basic building block. Yeah, we tend to think, we tend to give, because we are thinking like that: environment, teacher, parent, me, resources, get the best books, get these kits, get these things. We are all thinking of all these things, but we are forgetting the most fundamental thing, that the child has to construct it. And if we for a minute focus on that, then you see how the whole thing becomes very interesting. He or she has to make sense of it. Let's take an example. Let's say a child comes to you, and the child needs a certain number of chocolates, as you can see on the screen. If you see the slideshow right now on your device, okay, the slide is saying, or rather the child is saying, I need 11, but I only have 7, so I need 5 more. That's what the child is saying. The child is saying, I need 11, I have 7, so I need 5 more. What would you do? What would be your response? The child has come to you. Maybe the child has 11 friends. I don't know why the child needs 11. Maybe he has to give one each in his cricket team. I don't know. But the child says, I need 11, I have only 7, and I need 5 more. What would you say to the child? Yeah. Go ahead, please type in the chat window. Um, Somebody saying, correct the numbers. Catherine is saying, correct the numbers. Somebody's asking, why do you need 5 more? Somebody's saying, count properly, correct her, sorry. Somebody's saying, use other trick to convince. Somebody's saying, you will get 12. Uh, I like Shirley's response. Please take them from the fridge. Anisha is saying, so somewhere, pause. Why are we wanting to fix the child's learning? Why are you wanting, why are we wanting to get him on the right track, get the right answer, and so on? Please realize, if you start understanding what is construction, then please realize the child is constructing. The child is still doing it. Yes, what's the hurry, Anuj? Thank you. There is no hurry in construction. This is just one layer at a time. If we are worried about the wrong layer, then we are too soon worried about an outcome. But in construction is a process. There is no hurry. There is no need of an outcome. If you start enjoying the process of construction, if inside your heart or your brain, you say, wow, he or she is constructing, right? He or she is figuring it out. He or she has a theory that whatever 11, 7, and 5 make together, right? He has or she has a way of thinking. I'm not saying the way of thinking is right or wrong, that's immaterial. The fact that the child has a way of thinking means that the child is in the journey of construction. And if we can realize this, then possibly what we would do is to enjoy it first, is to connect with that construction by just observing. Maybe the time will connect. Maybe when the child takes 5 and goes and gives 1 to 11 friends and realize, oh, there is one left or something will happen. He's not going to, or she's not going to become uh, a 20, 30-year old thinking that 7 plus 5 is 11. No, he won't. Don't worry. But more important than worrying, I'd say forget the worry. I would like to just understand this just by observing, by zipping my big mouth shut and just observing. Wow. Just going along the child, just flowing with the child. How you said at the beginning, let's flow with them. A lot of integrated learning is about understanding those threads and how the child is weaving them together to make the rope or to make the designs in his mind or her mind. Yeah. Is that interesting? Is that like a wonder how the children are making it? If you can be with that wonder, you will discover far more beauties. If we are hurrying to fix it, then we are only in the job of fixers. And no, I'm not too sure that's really fun for the child. Yes, the child will learn faster, but do you want the child to learn faster? The concept of 7 plus 5? Or do you want the child to figure it out herself? Which is more important? That you have to think. So, integrated learning is all about realizing uh, is that they are already understanding, Swati. We don't have to make them understand. They are already understanding. If you allow me to go back few slides, see, it's all about it's happening, it's learning, it's there. The process is alive, the process is on fire. If it's on fire, it will get cooked, it will get constructed. They are not stubborn. If they are stubborn, that's good. We don't need to worry about their stubbornness. We need to enjoy and relish, and then we can see how those threads are moving. Then we can see what role we can play. But we don't play that role. We jump in with our correctness, with our end results. We don't enjoy the process. We don't understand the process. We are in so much of a hurry. He should learn 7 plus 5 is equal to 12. I'm saying yes, he would learn. What is more important is that we learn how she is learning or he is learning. And then we as I said, what is more important, that he learns how much is 7 plus 5 or 7 plus 4, or that he learns how to learn, that he learns how to construct. And if we are, what you decide which one you want to be, for he to get the right answer or for she to figure it out in her own time, with her own, using her own way of analysis, collecting data, and so on and so forth. So that's integrated learning. When we are with their integrations, they are integrating one thread at a time. It's like how you do crochet. You don't do and then a sweater comes out, or you when you're knitting, you do it one stitch at a time. And when you see only one stitch, it looks nothing. It looks like a boom. What's this? One stitch? It doesn't make sense. But you do those stitches over a period of time. You do some about 1700 stitches, and it becomes a beautiful cardigan or a sweater. Yeah. So think about it, Ishita. Don't worry about others. Let others do what they are doing. Let's worry about what am I doing. Can I understand? I can't make the whole world understand. See, 72 of you are here in this session. Yeah. Let's us 72 understand. Let's not worry about the rest of the 72 million people. Anyway, I can't do anything to them, but I can do something to me. That's the only person I can work on. Only person under my direct influence. No? Right? Okay. Okay. So let's move ahead. Okay. So the child is constructing, but how is he constructing?
You would ask me. I don't know if you're asking me. I would ask, okay, if he's constructing, how is he constructing? Okay, but before that, yeah, okay, I forgot this. Let's go and revisit Mr. G. Piaget, whose name is there in every B.Ed, every M.Ed, every degree course or every diploma course in education, but who is absolutely missing from the classroom. And what did Jean Piaget say? He said about 100 years back that when you teach a child something, you take away forever the chance of discovering it from himself and herself. You see, he's saying, don't take the chance away. Let them go on their own adventure. Let them go on their journey. Let them discover. The joy of creating your own wheel, the own process is so amazingly joyful. It's just like you can't teach me the taste of something, right? You have to let me build it on my own. Just like how children take their own time to build taste of, let's say, veggies or things like things which we want to stuff them with. Yeah. So how do children learn, right? How do they construct? Well, they construct in a very simple way, and that's the only way we all learn. I'm saying I'm making a huge dramatic statement, but it's not very dramatic. If you read every bit of brain research, you realize that the only way we learn is by making connections, right? For example, let us say apple. When I say the word apple, what comes to your mind? Yeah, when I say the word apple, what comes to your mind? Something must be okay. Somebody's saying fruit. Path is saying fruit. Mobile. So what's others? What's coming to your mind? Yeah, put that in the chat window, please. That's nice. Yeah, Sneha is saying red. Nandini is saying gadget. Somebody's saying A for apples. What shall I saying? Maybe Steve Jobs. Okay, Vidya is also red. Ajat is saying my hometown. Okay, a picture of it, something red and round, health, gravity. Okay, somebody's on the Newton trip. So you see one word and how all of you are making different connections. Why? Because that depends on whatever is connected to the word apple in your brain, however you connect to it. And I'm sure you have many connections. We are just sharing right now maybe one or two connections. But you realize the moment I said something, what did your brain do? Your brain made an automatic connection with something that you already knew, right? And so on. So we start making connections. We do not learn anything in isolation. Everything has to be connected to what I already know, or what I already at least have a connection in my mind. When COVID came, all of us started connecting with it, connecting with what we already knew. But then soon we realized, oh, there are some new concepts also. When we say new concept, when somebody said social distancing, we were initially uncomfortable because we haven't experienced it. We don't really think in terms of being away from people, except for people whom we want to be distant from, right? So then we started connecting with that concept. And similarly, hand wash, we started connecting with germs and so on. So anything new that comes in brings in a lot different connections. The moment we realize this, that the child is learning, constructing one connection at a time, though the connection could be in a very small space of time, but the whole idea is of being connected. Right now, here connection is not a between people. I'm not talking about that connection. Here I'm talking about the connections the child is making. Let's take an example. Yeah, this child came to me and says, uncle, because trees move, we get wind. Let's say the child comes to you. Let me change that. Let's say that this child came to you and said, because trees move, we get wind. What would you say to this child? Or what would be your response? The child is coming and saying, because trees move, we get wind. Okay. Snare saying, even I am moving now. Yeah. Yeah. Radha is saying, oh, maybe she'll end up correcting. Okay. So what why do you want to ask why trees move? Why even a hurry of asking?
Wait. Ishita is also saying correct her obsessive compulsion to fix. So, Ishita and Radha, let's look at it. Do we want to correct or do we want to connect? Which one? They're similar sounding words. Correction or connection. You decide which one you want to do. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. So I yes. So it's interesting when we try and now realizing rather saying connection here after the moment child is saying something, think about it. What is the child doing? What has the child done here? You realize that the child has connected things. The child has seen something, data A and data B and maybe data C, and the child has connected the dots. Yeah, the child is connecting what? Whatever the child has observed. Yeah, and isn't that itself so amazing that the child is connecting? Then that means the child's brain is picking up stuff and trying to make those lines, make those connections, and trying to make sense of it. Yeah, I'm still not, Laila. I'm still not in hurry to to do anything. Yeah, about asking how trees move. Yeah, that connection right now the child is not with that connection how trees move. He's thinking trees making, or she's thinking the trees making the wind move, and I'm with that connection first. Any age, I doesn't matter. Even a 50-year-old comes and says to me that the trees move the wind, I'll say right. There's no hurry to go back and start adding more dots. Yes, we can always see, once we understand the child's dots, once we realize that how this itself is magnificent, that the child is connecting, child is picking up stuff and coming out with a theory of his or her own. Yeah. Um, then I can see how aware what I want to do. But that to me is secondary. And we'll come to that. But without this understanding of connectedness, we start coming in with our connections. If you're asking, so what makes the trees move? Who is thinking? You are thinking, not the child. What's the hurry? Yeah, what's the hurry? So what? If the child, yes, Neha, I don't think age matters. If you came and told me, Ratnesh, I don't know what is your age, Neha. I'm assuming you are not a child, as in child, in the sense you are also a child. In that sense, we are all learning all the time. Yeah. Again, I'm still not there if you're understanding integrated learning, please first understand integrated learning. Let's not start getting worked up into we will together we can explore so more. Yes. All of that will come. All of that will happen. I okay. Somebody's asking, what would you do beyond saying nothing? Why do I need to do anything? I'm all ears. I'm all eyes. I'm ready to listen. Is that a bad idea? To just observe, where does the child take it from there? Maybe the child just in his excitement wants to share that with me, and then maybe he wants to share that this lovely theory that he has come up with some 100 people. And isn't that beautiful? See, did I start this theory in the child mind that now suddenly I think it's my holy job to now make more connections in the child's mind? Wait. Where's the hurry? Right? The child is making friends, the child is constructing, the child is connecting. What else do you want? Yes, enjoy his observation, his theorizing, his analysis, his interpretation, and his desire to express it to me. Yeah, I remember an incident where a child, you would come to me and share, and lots of stuff from his thing, and then every time he would come and share with me,
I would be doing something. So I would sometimes listen with a lot of active attention. Then one day I told him, see, I'm very busy. I can't give you active attention. In the sense, I might not have used these words, active attention. I just told him that I'm not really, really listening to you. He said, it doesn't matter, uncle. You just do your work. I'm just going to tell you. You see how beautiful it is? He just needs to express. He has a theory. His mind is bubbling with connections. Like zwing 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 zwing, you so see in those science fiction movies, all those zwing zwing wires making connections. That is what is happening. He just needs to tell. Where is the hurry to? Yeah, to do something with it. I'm not trying to say don't do anything. All I'm trying to say is, wait, let's first understand integrated learning. Let's just understand how the child is learning. There's a lot of time to do something about it. If you want to do something about it, a lot of times you may not need to, a lot of times you can. But the more you understand, the more option come to your mind. If you are too soon into, I know how to fix this, I know how to put a thought before or a thought after, I know how to take this forward, let's do a learning journey, beta. Right? I'm saying, yeah, all that is superb. I'm thumbs up for that. But in time, when you understand it more as an integrated learning, all I'm saying is, if now you have one idea of how to take this forward, if you understand the child's process, you may get 21 ideas or 101, or if you allow me, 251 ideas. I like this 251 more than any other number. So I will wait till I get 251 ideas maybe. But that's the beauty of understanding this whole process. It just opens up the options. Sometimes people say that, how come you get so many ideas about these activities? I said, I don't get the ideas. They come to me. They come to me because I can stay with the whole process of learning. When you observe, when you are with the whole process, then the ideas come automatically. So my invitation to all of you is, when I say people, let's design learning, they think, oh my goodness, I'll have to now design something. Is it that something that's like a huge task? No. Right? If you go back to Sherlock Holmes, how he used to get ideas, it's because he would kind of observe. He would not be the most talkative kind, he would be the most observant kind. Yep. Okay, let's let's move ahead and see what Maria Montessori has to say for this. And it is so beautiful. She's saying, we discovered that education is not something which the teacher does. There you go. She is saying, I don't have that important a role. What is really important is, it is a natural process which develops spontaneously in the human being. And that is what is lovely. And she's one big observer. She was one big observer of children. She realized how the spontaneous energy is something I need to just be there with and understand. Then I can see what I can do. She came up with so many ideas. I'm sure she came up because she observed the whole process. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's say the child wants to do something. Let's say whatever the child wants to do. Let's say the child wants to do a painting. Child comes and says, I want to draw, or rather I want to paint something. Here I've got my colors, I've got my brushes, I want to paint. And let's say you say, okay, fine, good, awesome, whatever you say, right? My question is, uh, why is this child doing this activity? As in, okay, let me put it this way. Why do you want the child to do this activity? Let's say you're okay with the child doing this activity. Why? Do you want the child to, and let's say the child starts doing it, does a little bit of it, and then leaves it, says, enough. Let's say the child said, I will draw apple, since we were talking about apple. The child kind of paints about half an apple, not even half, a little bit of it, whatever amount, let's say 40%. And then the child says, no, enough. I'm done with this. What would be your response? Okay, Chitra is reminding clean up. Yeah, yeah, clean up is important. Yeah, somebody's saying, is it's okay? Yeah, interesting. Somebody's saying, finish it. Yeah. I always give this example of yeah, complete it. What is this complete? Can anybody explain to me what is the meaning of complete? When do you complete something? Yeah, when does it get completed? Please explain to me. When does this, let's say, drawing an apple gets completed? Yeah, who decides it is complete or who decides it is half? Or and when does it get completed? Has does is it kind of completed? Fully colored. Is that complete? No, 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 Kranti. It is not complete when it is fully covered. Still has to be given a border. It has to be given a price tag. It has to be framed. It has to be sold in the market. Only then it is complete. And then money will come and more paints have to be bought and more paintings have to be made and they have to be made border and they have to be framed and then they have to be sold and more money has to be collected and then nothing is complete. Yes, 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 Kranti. I am with you. Nothing is complete. The activity of painting is for what reason? It is not to complete it. Yes, when we become the judge that something is complete, then according to us it is complete. But yeah, we all know it's not complete. Nothing is complete. There's nothing called as complete, right? The beauty is that what we're talking about here is that the learning does not lie in completion. If we realize this as a parent or as a teacher or as somebody who works with children, that the learning does not lie in completion. The learning lies in the doing of it, which is why the doing of anything is the activation. An activity is to only activate. Yes, in school the marks decided is it complete, but that also not completed. They say that you finish school, then that is enough. Then they say no, 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 you have to get into a college. Then you have to get into a college, but then you have to finish into good college. Then you finish into good college. Then when you have to get a good job. Then you have to get a good job, and then you have to get a good wife or husband. Then you have to get good children. Then you have to be a good grandparent. You see, when is it complete? I have no idea. So the whole idea of an activity is activation. So integrated learning is all about understanding this activation, understanding this process through which the child is going through, not about some results. Who cares? Who cares if a child, let's imagine a child is singing and dancing and counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then he stops at 9. What will the adults around say? What will the adults around say? You know the answer. Yeah. Yes, they will say 10. But the child never thought of 10. Numbers don't exist till 10. Who has made this 10? The numbers exist till 1 to 9. 10 is nothing but a combination of 1 and 9. So he's already in 10 in a way. So let's do a quick activation. Let's see what you get out of it. Okay. I want you to hold your, meaning take out your left hand, like if you're seeing my video or you see the slide, both showing the same thing. And I want you to see where all each of your finger touches your palm. Only the left hand fingers, where all within the left hand, you can see my video. So just explore where all each finger touches on your hand. And as you are exploring this, seeing which finger touches where, you can see where what is happening to your mind. What is your mind thinking? What kind of conclusions you are making? Go ahead, explore. What does your 5 fingers, so you can explore. You can even use the other hand and see what happens when you kind of push your finger. Where all does it go? So go ahead, explore. Yeah, and you can share in chat window what is happening to you. We just did one what I call as activation. Is there a result of this activity? I don't know. Will this activity ever get completed? I don't know. It's your hand. It's in your hand. You decide when it gets completed. The learning is in your hand, literally. And the activation is also right there. Are you activated? Is your hand activated? Is your mind activated? See, you do a little thing and everything fires up. It's like rubbing two stones together. Sparks fly. That's what activation is. So the goal of painting is not the learning. The learning is the act of painting. Are bulbs glowing? Yeah. So that's what activation is all about. And if you can understand this process of how activation is what is really, really the learning, not the result, whatever the painting or whatever you are doing, then we can really, first of all, enjoy what the child is doing or what I'm doing and see what all is embedded in there, like with the story that we started off with. So much you said learning is everywhere, absolutely, and in your hand. Yeah. Okay. So what did John Dewey said about this? He said, give the people something to do, not something to learn. And the doing is of such a nature as to demand thinking. Then learning naturally results. And I like that he has added this line, and the doing is of such a nature as to demand thinking, because otherwise as teachers and parents, we keep giving them homework, classwork, this, that. That's not doing. The doing is something which gets them activated. And most of it comes from them when they are out down there playing with their friends. You see the amount of activation, the amount of arguments, the amount of fights over the rules of the game and how we will play today and who will be the dinner and who will be this, and there are leadership leaders emerging out of them, and then there are fights and arguments, debates. Oh my goodness, so much activation. I wish it could just go on the whole day. You'll possibly learn more. Okay. uh, when you say possibly learn more, what comes to my mind is not just more. I just don't want them to learn more. I realize that they can learn 8 times of what they are learning, because I realize that there are so many intelligences in each one of us. You know that, I know that. We have so many colors inside us, these intelligences, these multiple intelligences. And if I can somehow relate to these 8 intelligences and invite the child to do the same, then I can multiply the learning 8 times, right? So the last week, one of our Arohi children, I think he's about 4 or 5, I'm not remembering his age, but somewhere around 4, 5, 6, he drew this little, let's call it, he calls it, it's a Zentangle art. But the thing is, if you start looking at it from, let's say, body perspective, then you start thinking, whose body is like that? What if my body was like that? How will this creature move if it's a creature? What kind of, why this kind of, a shape with this? Is it an agile creature? Is it a slow creature? What kind of creature is this? If you start thinking it from a logic perspective, you start thinking, what kind of symmetry does it have? Is that symmetry important? Is the balance is proper there? Is the forces going to work properly, and so on? If you start thinking of music, oh my goodness, there's so much music flowing here. I can start thinking of songs which will go with it, or maybe this is already a part of a song, or if there was a song video, how these little patterns will kind of travel within it. Then you think of nature and you start thinking, where do I look at these patterns? Do trees barks have these patterns, or elephant skin has these patterns? Where do I these little patterns, or these creepers crawling all over the ground, are these patterns? Then I start thinking of people and I'll say, what will different people think of these objects? Like if I ask you, what do you think it is? When I first thought of it, I saw this is two spirally eyed monster. That's what I thought. I don't know, what are you thinking about? Different people will look at it in so many different ways. In fact, this could be a person. Will I make him a friend? Will I make him a pet? Will I make him a business colleague, a business partner? What will I?
make him or her, for that matter. I don't even know the gender. And then I start thinking of it in terms of myself, and I say, when my eyes go like this, when my hair goes all squirrely whirly, when my nose is runny, you see the bit between the nose is runny. I don't know, I'm starting relating it to myself, and when my thoughts are all wobbly goobly. uh, and yes, we can talk. I've been talking about it. The whole a whole story is embedded in it. I'm sure we can start with a story right here. Somebody saying a brainy car, mask, turtle, cart, and so on. And obviously, the child made it so visually, although there's just one color literally. I think one color which ran out of ink, so he took a slightly different color, but more or less a monochromatic visual. And why is it so appealing? Why is there so much visual energy in it? And somebody saying chow mask. So the moment you realize that one little thing, I can multiply it by 8 and enjoy it in 8 different ways. So I don't live 24 hours. I live 24 into 8. How much ever is that? Oh, that's about, yeah, what? uh, that's so many more hours. How many hours? Many hours that is, you can calculate. I live that many hours because every moment I can enjoy in 8 different ways. And that is integrated learning, because I don't approach learning through only one way, through only one channel. I have so many channels. Yeah. And that's what Howard Gardner said, that anything that is worth teaching can be presented in different ways. These multiple ways can make use of our multiple intelligences. Right. So let's kind of conclude this little session on integrated learning by saying, by thinking rather, I want to leave you with this thought that, do we need to live to learn? Literally, as children, if you ask child, what's your profession? They write student. I say, how horrible. To me, my profession, whether I'm a 5-year-old or a 1-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 20-year-old, is to live. That's my profession. And not just at 20, even now, my profession is to live. And when we live, we automatically learn. It is natural then. That is what is integrated living, because then you don't define living and learning as separate. Much like as Swami Vivekananda ji said, he said, in a day when you don't come across any problems, you can be sure that you are traveling in a wrong path. How beautiful. All he's reminding us is living is learning. The moment you live, you will have problems. The moment you have problems, you will learn. Right? It's like run, hop, jump, fall, get up, run, hop, jump, fall, get up, and all that. That is what living and learning is all about. So that's my thought to you, that integrated learning is about living, and living in the way we would like to live, right? Okay, so I have 1 more minute, so I want to invite you, if you would like to, as a parent or as a teacher or educator or anybody who is interested in learning, uh, to go much deeper into integrated learning and explore its many, many threads. We are doing this program. Uh, it's starting on 3rd September. It will have 15 sessions. So we'll go really deep. Today's is just the introduction. Um, but if you're excited about it, and if you see how you can explore it in its width and depth with your child, um, uh, then you're most welcome. As I said, this program will have 15 sessions, 6 sessions on understanding the 8 intelligences, 6 sessions on understanding experiences, explorations, experimentations, expressions, and expansions, um, and enrichment, and 3 sessions to put it all together. Sneha is asking, will it be more different than Jagriti? Yeah, Jagriti was very different, Sneha. I hope Jagriti was about understanding children, while this program is about understanding learning. Yeah, Jagriti was, in that sense, more to be how I can be a parent in terms of the child. This one is how I can be an enricher to the child's learning journey. Yeah.
So in some ways you can say this is like part two of Jagriti. For people who don't know, Jagriti is a different program that we do. That one more focuses on understanding the child and understanding myself as parent, while this program understands learning and what role I can play in that learning process, whether I'm a teacher or a student. So yeah, you can call it as the next part of Jagriti, just that we don't call it that way. Yeah. I don't know. Is it an answer of how? Yes, but there will be a lot of hows here. Everything is how. How are there inside you? The moment you understand something, the hows will come from you rather. Uh, yeah, the timings. Okay, that's my last slide, I guess. It's already 10 o'clock. Right, so 15 sessions twice a week, 9 to 10:30, 1.5 hours in the night, pretty much this time. And yeah, the good old AKSD, which means you can contribute as much as you wish. You can do that before, during, or after the program. That is how we run all our programs. You're familiar with that, some of you at least. It's always AKSD, which we call as Hindi Apni Kushi Se Do, or in English, give as per your wish. Yeah. So this is India times, 9 to 10:30. Um, yeah. The program is co-created by Arohi and House of Learning, and Sonal is very much here. Sonal runs this House of Learning in Delhi, and we've come together to create this program with Sonal. Um, so you can, if you need more details, help, uh, our contact details are there. If you want to register for the program, you can drop into Arohi website or House of Learning website and you can register. We will also be sending you the link. You can use that to register or just buzz us. And yes, even if you don't want to do program, that's the program part is not so important. What is really important is I hope you will now start looking at learning in many dimensions, many more dimensions now, and trying to understand how this whole beautiful process is happening around you, within you when you learn, within the child when the child learns, uh, and within everybody as they learn, even how animals learn and so on. Yeah. So yep, let me um, sorry, Ishita is asking, does it make sense to do this before doing Jagriti? Yeah, actually you can do it in any order. It by itself, they are not overlapping, so it doesn't really matter. As I said, one is more to understand learning, this program. Jagriti is more to understand yourself and the child. So in that sense, yeah, you can learn, do any one before and one after. It's not like you would have lived your role or journey in one day, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, and yeah, Ishita, it doesn't matter. Conventional school, non-conventional school doesn't matter. Learning is learning, right? The child is learning whether the child goes to school, as in a conventional school, or school called home, or school called myself, or school called anything. That doesn't matter. Let's not get stuck with that. Yeah. So thank you very much. I've already overstepped by 4 minutes. Thank you for staying with me for an hour, and hopefully uh, you will have those, this, let me go back to that little visual if you allow me. You'll have these kind of eyes from now onwards when you look at the child and the learning. And yeah, and all your brain will be going, all these squigglies will be going on in your brain. Ajat is saying, want to do overstep? No, no, no. Ajat, we'll do that in the program, right? We will go through it. And as I said, even if you're not doing the program, do stay connected. Keep sharing your thoughts keep sharing your observations about learning and children and so on. We can all learn from each other. Yep. So thank you very much. Yep. Bye bye. And we'll meet again. Thank you.